Okay. That's it. Let's just take our seat. One of those is my seat, so. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So lest we forgot, let's look at somebody. You don't have to take them and shake their hand. Just yell it across the room. We need to get up and get going. Say it. When we hear about all this innovation and all the potential we have, we need to get to a point where we just get up and get going. Start moving in the direction of getting it done. With that in mind, I'm happy to present our next speaker and to welcome our next speaker. And I say welcome because this is my first time publicly being able to officially welcome him to Grand Bahama. He is the Vice President of the University of the Bahamas, our northern campus. We've heard him often on radio. We've watched him many times doing analysis during election nights on past and present previous elections, and we've read his commentary in the newspaper, and we've heard about him as he did work for College of the Bahamas there in New Providence. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, let us welcome to the podium at this time Dr. Ian Strong, Vice President of the University of the Bahamas Northern Campus. Come on, we can do better than that. Let's welcome him. He's going to transform and make sure that the subjects we don't have in Northern Bahamas, we can get them here so we can get our children who are in New Providence back home where we want them. Why have a campus in the north with the name and then we have to send our students to Nassau? I ain't got no witness in here.
Yeah.
So we're hoping that you would take us to that level where our students can be here and any subject they want to study, they can do it right here in the comfort of their parents' home and in the comfort of the island to which they've grown up in. Dr. Strong, welcome to the Technical Summit.
He's making my presentation for me. Good afternoon. I want to thank you and commend Minister for Grand Bahama and the Office of the Prime Minister for this wonderful event. We've really enjoyed it. I want to call to the stage also my colleagues who are here with me, who will also be presenting. Dean Carlton Watson is Dean of Pure and Applied Sciences at the University of the Bahamas, and he will be presenting. And also want to call Dr. Eddie Bethel. Come top here. Let's do it sufficiently. Dr. Edward Bethel, who is director of UB Online. He will also be speaking. And Mrs. Latira Munnings, who is our assistant director for CLearn, the Center for Continuing Education and Lifelong Learning, will also be. So we're going to be dividing up our presentation a bit. So we've been asked to speak to the issue of the role of the university in creating a Grand Bahama tech hub. And first, I guess I should be using this. Just press the magic button. I hope. So, first of all is the mission of the university. The mission of the university, as some of you may know, is to advance and expand access to higher education, promote academic freedom, drive national development, and build character through teaching, learning, research, and scholarship and service. And the most important part of that, in my mind, is driving national development. We've had some successes in that area. I think our greatest success has been in preparing future leadership. growing the middle class and driving the Bahamanization of the professions. If you look even at the cabinet of the Bahamas today, and our current Minister of Grand Bahama, an alumnus of the then College of the Bahamas, University of the Bahamas, and others in this room, like Mr. Mark Humes, Honorable Mark Humes and Iram Lewis and others, graduates of the university. So we've done a good job at that. But there are unseized opportunities that we still have. Producing an entrepreneurial class, producing research that informs public policy, service and social innovation, and producing ideas and solutions that could drive private industry. These are new areas and new opportunities that we still have to approach in order to truly fulfill our mission. We do some of these things, but nowhere near enough. I want us to think about the role or the dynamic that would be ideal as the triple helix model, in which the academy, industry, and government collaborate to drive economic, national, social, and cultural development. Each one has a part to play in making that happen. And that is the key to the university playing the role it must play in Grand Bahama, as well as the wider Bahamas, generally speaking, in terms of university generating the talent and training, providing human capital, forging partnerships, government, of course, creating incentivizing environment and ensuring there's ease of business, and industry, of course, bringing its expertise and capital as well. And so that is the model, I think, that we need to look at and to ensure that we get the outcomes we want. Now, there are some good examples in the history of the university in terms of where we have seen the university responding to the marketplace well, listening to the marketplace and delivering product that is needed. If you think about it, the University of the Bahamas has 4 such areas, really. If you look at the fact that we are churning out chartered accountants, that we are, in fact, producing most of the licensed registered nurses in our country. If you look at the fact that the University of the Bahamas really is the place to become a trained teacher in our country. And if you look at the fact that we now are able to deliver the law degree here locally, those are all examples of what we have been able to do to respond to the needs of the market, listen to partners, and deliver. An area where we need to revisit and make sure that we are, because we may have gotten some things wrong down the line, but need to once again recommit ourselves to, would be an area like the maritime industry. But there are also new frontiers which are particularly important to Grand Bahama and where there's great potential. One would be really exploring engineering, chemical, electrical, mechanical, etc. Information technology, entrepreneurship, something which is a big priority for us going forward as we want to introduce an entrepreneurship degree, but also other forms of certification, and medicine. So these are the new areas, the new frontier for the University of Bahamas in terms of growth. What do we offer now? Well, as we speak, the University of Bahamas offers a bachelor's degree in computer information systems in Nassau, with specializations in networking, applications, programming, management information systems, and we are in fact developing an information or cybersecurity specialization under the computer information systems bachelor's degree. We only offer currently an associate degree here in Grand Bahama, and that, of course, needs to change. The cybersecurity issue is a big one. It's an area where there's an estimated 1 million jobs on the horizon. And are we doing enough in that? We are trying to create a program, a degree program that will equip our people to take advantage of that growth industry, that growth potential. What are the next steps for the University of the Bahamas from our perspective? Clearly, we need to be able to deliver the bachelor's in computer information systems in Grand Bahama. It is overdue that most of the degree programs that are offered in Nassau should also be delivered here in Grand Bahama, and we have the technology to do it. Everywhere I go, I tell people that the goal at UB North is to double our enrollment, double the number of programs we have available, and double the number of faculty over the next 3 to 5 years. And CIS, if there's any program that could be delivered using the technology, it should be Computer Information Systems. But in addition to that, we need to strengthen our CIS programs by hiring more faculty with industry experience, incorporating industry internships into our programs, increasing project-based learning and research. We obviously need to boost marketing of our CIS programs at the BA, associate degree, and certificate levels. And we need to expand what we're doing through C-Learn in terms of infotech certifications and courses. And this is the big one too. We need to establish at the University of the Bahamas North a business incubator that could focus on the tech industry. We know that the government is moving ahead very quickly with its small business development center initiatives. But along with that, the University of the Bahamas is keen to create a business incubator, which could be a place that could be a launch pad for many startups in the tech field, and where you could share resources, reduce rental costs, share equipment and clerical staff, get training in entrepreneurship, get access to venture capital, where there may be opportunities to also commercialize ideas that faculty and students come up with, or even commercialize projects that they may create, and where there be opportunities to do research and design and commercialize tech solutions to public and private problems. And this could happen through a synergy between the Entrepreneurial Studies Program, which we are going to create, the SBDC, Chamber of Commerce, and the Grand Bahama Port Authority, all working together, we believe. This is my final, and I'll step down and turn it over to my colleague, Carlton. Just something to think about. The UN Economic and Social Council said that although there's a consensus that technological change is a driver of economic growth, many developing countries have yet to benefit from the promises of science, technology, and innovation. The potential contribution of STI to the achievement of development goals is and will continue to be constrained by structural barriers and systemic weaknesses at the local, national, and global levels, and by the long lead time required to build indigenous technical and non-technical indigenous STI capabilities. That's where the University of the Bahamas comes in. Indigenous capabilities in STI are essential for the achievement of both short and long-term development goals. Therefore, building science, technology, and engineering for innovation capacity should be elevated from a missing or marginal component of the development agenda of many developing countries to an essential policy of every country's strategy for alleviating poverty, achieving Millennium Development Goals, and enhancing economic and social development. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Or is it afternoon?
Afternoon.
Good afternoon. I, too, want to join my colleague, Dr. Strawn, in thanking the Office of the Prime Minister, the Minister, and all those responsible for this summit. It has truly been, for me, it is a dream come true to see this focus being given to technology and technology in Grand Bahama. I think it's long overdue, and I'm happy that it's happening now. I don't have a fancy set of slides, and I really wanted this as an opportunity, use this time as an opportunity to speak and to communicate, especially with young people. I've been so impressed with young Bahamians, young Grand Bahamians who have spoken before us, the confidence, the technical confidence, the way they've presented, and the great things that they have done thus far. And fundamentally, our mission at the University of the Bahamas is to ensure that as many, all Bahamians, Grand Bahamians, have access to tertiary level education and in an environment where they feel like everything is possible. Now, I talk to, is my mic on? You see? I'm going to try and do the TED thing. I normally don't like to do public speaking, but I want to be able to look at the young people in the back as well. I talk to students all the time about my experience, and I know I only have 10 minutes. I'll try and not ramble that much. But I was also a student at the University at the College of the Bahamas, and unlike some of my colleagues, I had to transfer out because I was in a technology program. We know that back then I was a student in 1988. Back then, we had programs for accountings. You could get an associate's, but it was very difficult to get a program, a degree in engineering or technology. And so I transferred. I went on to Prairie View A&M University. I did engineering. I switched over to physics, and then I did my PhD in physics in 2001. I started in working in Minneapolis in a high-tech company making chips, microchips for the high-tech communication industry. I did that for a while. We did some great things there. And an opportunity came back for me to come back home, came up, and I seized that opportunity. Because I reflected on my experience in undergrad and the person who got me to where I was, who inspired me. And I decided I could focus all of my time in going as far as I could go technically and write papers and get patents, and those are great things. And I'm hoping we have more students do that. Or I could focus on trying to build a foundation. One of the things that we are good at is we have, I think in the Bahamas, is that we have students in all spheres. We have leaders everywhere, all over the world, in tech, in sports, in business, in entertainment. But quite often, those folks have to go abroad to truly shine. And we want to, the purpose of the university is so that they can shine right here with the way the world is connected now. Yeah, you can clap for me. Give me one. For them. I think the way the world is connected now, there's no reason that couldn't happen here in Grand Bahama. We've been talking for years. Before I joined the faculty at the College of the Bahamas, I came back in 2003. We've been talking about moving the technology program from Nassau to Grand Bahama. And while it's easy to say that, to make that happen, it's very challenging because you're working against a tremendous amount of inertia. I am confident, I've never been this optimistic and confident with this initiative and the support of the government and industry, that this is something that we're going to realize within the next 3 to 5 years, right? I think with the leadership of Dr. Strawn as well, the provost, Linda Davis, and the president, that this will definitely happen. And more, I mean, my job here has really been connecting with the young people here and making contacts with persons like Trinika, like Christy, and so many others. Aisha, she's not here, but she has been a tremendous support. And it's amazing. Sometimes I'm surprised, but I've gotten to the point where I'm stopped being surprised at how well young Bahamians are doing internationally. Now, there was some discussion about this need for this industry to grow by Bahamians, or whether we will bring in talent. I think that ultimately it will be a mix of both, but definitely I see young Bahamians leading and driving the development of Grand Bahama and the Bahamas, because no one else will have the vested interest that they do. I also think that's why a university is important. All of the research shows that a university, and it's interesting, we're talking about Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley didn't just start and universities work around it. Silicon Valley started from really the heart of Stanford University, from the Dean of Engineering. It started at the university. And from there it grew. And of course, with Berkeley being very close, it really helped with bringing in, developing talent, having consultancies. And so I reflect on a story. I have a couple stories. I reflect on a story. I was in Samoa, of all places, Western Samoa, very remote place. And one of the deans that I spoke with, her husband was the minister, I think, of tourism. And she said they travel all around the world and looking at their tourism product. And they'd been to the Bahamas, they'd been to the Caribbean. And they said that while they liked the model, they did not think it was the model that was suitable for them, because they wanted a tourism product that was going to be developed by them and owned by them. And they also wanted their university to be central because they didn't want their development to outpace their university. In many ways, and I'm sure this is going to change, our development has outpaced our university. The university should be a source where decisions are made informed by data, informed by best technical skills, and put into action with young people, with people with lots of energy and creativity that can see it through, and perseverance. And so with the university, the college becoming university in 2016, we're celebrating 1 year tomorrow. We have the president's soiree. We're celebrating 1 year of being a university. The demands have been great. I did tell you that I kind of talked for a while, so I'll skip through. I have 3 or 4 slides, but I'll go through those very quickly, just so you can know what's happening. And because I get the question all the time, what is the University of the Bahamas doing? I think when we understand what the university has done with the budget that it has, and I'm sure that budget is going to increase in the next budget cycles.
We hope.
I speak in faith. I'm sure you can appreciate that.
Amen.
Amen. It's going to increase. It has to increase. With this new push, it has to increase. So I'm going to tell you some of the things. Let me see now. Which one is the clicker? That's the laser. All right. Oops. I'll run through this quickly. So I'm going to expand on some of the things that Dr. Strawn said. One of the things that we've done over the last few years is really focus on trying to match our faculty complement with our goals. For the longest we said, and this is something that happens all the time, we want to do X, Y, Z, but we know that we don't have the faculty to do it. We don't have the resources to do it. We are taking a realistic approach, and we know that fundamentally a lot of this is going to be driven by faculty. So to give you an example, in our 2018-2019 hiring cycle, we will be hiring at least 50 new faculty. In my position as Dean of Faculty in Pure and Applied Sciences, which stretch from the medical science and health sciences to architecture, engineering, and the natural sciences, math, physics, technology, chemistry, etc., and maritime, we have really pushed, and this event really makes my job a little easier. It doesn't make it easy, but it makes it a little easier when we go and we look at the budget and have to make hard decisions about where we're going to hire for the future. Because nursing is short, biochem, English, everyone is competing. But I'm happy that in this budget cycle, we have earmarked 6 to 7 positions in applied mathematics. We have 2 positions in architecture. We have many positions in sciences. And we're looking also in bringing on faculty for energy, engineering, and energy systems, right? In 2019, we're going to be looking at increasing the technology side of things in terms of computer science, etc. In green is the things that we need and some of the challenges that we are working through. In engineering, one of the challenges we have is if you're going to bring in good people, and we want a diverse international faculty, the best faculty that we can bring, we have to look at salaries. We have a very traditional way of hiring at the university. And so perhaps we need to look at industry, government, other sources on how do we compensate our faculty in engineering, because it's difficult to get a person to come to the Bahamas, or even sometimes for Bahamians to come back, and you're paying them a quarter of what they can make elsewhere. I have a good friend. We went to graduate school together. I won't say how much I make, but I'll say how much he makes since it's public. Alex Cartwright, he is the president of the University of Missouri. This is a top leading institution, a Bahamian who graduated from L.W. Young. Actually, he didn't graduate from L.W. Young. He dropped out of L.W. Young, went to the States, right? He was the provost of SUNY, and he is now the president of the University of Missouri.
Awesome.
And he's a good friend. We both went to graduate school together, right? And there's so many Bahamians, and he wants to give back, like so many Bahamians. And that's what is exciting for me. When I talk to folks like Tranika and Aisha and Christy, it's not that they want to do this for themselves. They're so interested in young people and working and seeing the next generation of young people. So we're going to bring in faculty who are good at what they do, great at what they do, but are also interested in developing Bahamians to own this economy. One of the things we're doing in the short term to beef up our engineering programs is entering into memorandum of understanding and articulation agreements with many universities, or several universities. We've targeted a few universities in leading universities in Florida and Michigan, and some other places. We're meeting with some Canadian counterparts next week. We're going to have a very select group of universities that we work with. We're entering into memorandum of understandings where ultimately we want those students to graduate with a University of the Bahamas degree. We have many students now, and we value those partnerships that we have with other institutions, or that those institutions may have with various interests within Grand Bahama and the Bahamas, but we want to have a lot of that coming through University of the Bahamas for a particular reason. It's important. We want to ensure that the products and the ideas that they work on are relevant as much as possible to developing this island. When I was a student in engineering, a major component of that is, how am I doing with time?
You have 2 minutes.
I have 2 minutes. A major component was senior design. And in senior design, you would take a concept, a company would sponsor it, like the Grand Bahama Port Authority or some other company, and I'm happy to say that I see representatives from Alive, and they've sponsored this, and as many of you know, they signed a historic agreement with the University of the Bahamas to support it, and we need more. And we need more companies and organizations like Alive that are putting their money where their mouth is, not only in hiring Bahamians, but also investing in the next generation of Bahamians. So we want the students to go off. They can do 2 years here, 2 years abroad, and come back and do a year. Ultimately, we want to phase out where they can start to do, especially those degrees that don't require as much physical infrastructure, like computer engineering, software engineering. They should be able to do those right here, all right? The other thing that we want to look at is expanding and consolidating our computer information systems into a computer engineering and computer science degree and bringing that all under one roof. Right now, it's in the College of Business. We value and we recognize the importance that computers play in the business, but we want to look at it more broadly and look at computer science and engineering software development. An exciting thing in our transition to university is our focus that we've given to graduate programs. We've brought in a new dean of graduate programs and research, and in our articulation agreements, many of those we're looking at not have students just only do bachelor's, but those students who want to go on and do their master's and PhDs to go on and do those as well. Also, for our undergraduate degree, we want to look at infusing, and Dr. Strawn spoke about this, project-based and research-based learning. And so we want to create an exciting curriculum that infuses their workplaces, working with companies, so that our students work in those environments either through internships or cooperative experiences, so that when they graduate from the University of the Bahamas, they are job ready. We want what happens in accounting to happen in technology, where the leading accounting firms now, if they see a student with a University of the Bahamas degree, and they see a student with a degree from somewhere else, they are going to get a University of the Bahamas student. Not because they're in the Bahamas, but because they know the quality of the education that student gets. The last point, I've been told, we want to also create, as much as I'm focused on, and I would love everyone to get a PhD or master's, we also recognize that, especially in technology, the mode of learning is changing. So we want to create as many flexible pathways into the institution and out of the institutions so that people can be productive and actually join the workforce, either as entrepreneurs or joining companies or startups. And so one of the things we are doing is looking at more certificate programs, looking at, there's a new move in how you stack degrees. You put several certificates together. This is something they've been doing in Europe for a while. It's now becoming bigger in North America, but you stack your degrees. And so you can do a year here, start working. Maybe in 4 years, you do another year. You do a year here, 6 months there, and before you know it, you actually have a bachelor's or you have a master's, and you're more marketable. You bring a lot more into the classroom in the learning environment, because that's the other benefit of having people who've worked in industry. And so that's one of the things that we are also working on. I think this is truly my last slide here. I didn't have many. I just want to also say very quickly that there's a lot going on. I just want to let you know real quick. There was a lot of, I think, the question was asked to Dr. Higgs, Gadrin, about coming back, what would it take to come back? And I think it's important, and I really talk to students, and I was there, and many of us have been there. It's very easy to stay in the United States or Canada or Europe, right? And what I try to remind my students or former students is that those places weren't always where they were. We know the history of the United States, Civil War, this, that, all of the things, and I think they still have some issues they're going through now. Canada, right? We are in a unique space and time in terms of where our country is in its development. And we have to, it's a choice that we make, and it's a choice that I made, to come back and be a part of that building. Even though it's very frustrating, it's the success, it's the seeing the students. It's, Minister Lewis might be happy to hear this, it's the success from trying to get an architecture program when I first came in as chair 4 or 5 years ago, and to finally see now that we have an architecture program at the University of the Bahamas where students can get a high-quality architecture degree for probably 1/10 of the cost that they would have to pay. What that means for those parents who cannot afford is that they can send their students, who cannot afford it, they can send their students to the University of the Bahamas. And our architecture students, we're very proud of them. I don't know if you've seen the work with Dubai 2020, but we hope to bring that same energy to Grand Bahama in terms of using our architecture students, 3rd, 4th, and 5th year students, to help in planning the development of Grand Bahama in terms of the University of the Bahamas and also the broader community. So that's something that we're very excited about.
Thank you.
So I'm going to skip through. I only had 2 slides, but I will defer to my colleagues. But I just want to end. I just want to end with this. Thank you, Alive. Was that 10 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, while that is loading up, let me first join everyone else in giving my personal thanks to Alive for the very generous partnership agreement that they have signed with UB. It's particularly important for me as the head of UB Online. I know that I am going to be, I'm saying this in faith, I know that I am going to be one of the biggest beneficiaries of this agreement. So thank you, Alive. I also want to say I am so happy to have heard, I only came up today, but I was so happy to have heard all of these fabulous young people, Christy, LaRon, Jarvis, and it makes me feel like I haven't done anything with my life, seeing what they've accomplished at such a young age. And so I want to say congratulations to them. I don't know if they're still here, but congratulations to them, and keep up the good work. Now, before we get started, okay, so here we go. Come, you all join me. Come on, let's go.
Okay.
Time's a ring.
Wait, can't see me.
Get in.
Turn the tire.
Yeah, I did it. Yes, I did. Send to. Okay, so, but no, there's actually a serious reason behind it. I've just joined Instagram, so I'm Instagramming GB Tech Summit. But for a very important reason. Instagram right now is the fastest rising ed tech application on the market. And so as director of UB Online, I've got to keep on top of these things. Of course, it's not as high as the Google products. For example, YouTube is first. Google itself, I think, is third, and Google Apps also is also in the top 10. So there are a number of these apps that I'm trying to keep on top of in order to keep current in my field, trying to keep it with these young people. So why UB Online? The Bahamas geography creates a wicked problem. All of you know that we're an archipelago of 700 islands and keys with a population on 30 of these islands spread out over something like 500 or 5,000 square miles. For any public service delivery mechanism, this is going to be a challenge. And for education, it's no different. We obviously can't provide every single island of the Bahamas with the same quality of education. And so this is where I come in. Slideshow ready? No? It's not going to be on? Or are you going to bring it up? All right, yeah, that's fine. Just give me a shout when it comes up. And getting back to YouTube, actually, I can say that I am a living example of how important YouTube is for learning things. I was at university in Montreal getting my PhD. Unlike some of the young people, I just got mine at a little later in life, but I did it. I did that too. And being a poor student, I had a poor car, broke down a lot. I just gotten the clutch fixed, and my wife and I were driving up north to look at the trees turn orange in the autumn. It's beautiful, beautiful in Canada. And wouldn't you know it, just as we are driving from the side road onto the highway, the clutch went again. Could not move. Was broke, as students usually are, so I couldn't even pay to get a mechanic to come and fix it. What I did, though, was we got a tow truck. They agreed to come and tow my car for $50 to a friend's house who lived nearby. He and I then went on to YouTube, went on to Google, and literally Googled and YouTubed how to fix the clutch for a Subaru Outback and the year that I drove. I can't tell you the year because then you'll really know how cheap I am. But through not much longer than an hour and a half of study online, we were able to get the clutch fixed and get it going again. And I realized that I had just paid upwards of $1,000 to fix a problem that they had never fixed, that we wound up fixing ourselves for free. So yeah, I did that too. No slides, no worries. What I want to talk about today is how UB Online is going to reach and is reaching students across the Bahamas and hopefully eventually across the world. The first step that we're doing is we have developed a two-way interactive system of classrooms. There's one here in Grand Bahama, and there are 3 in New Providence. So what that means is that an instructor can teach a class in Nassau in one of these classrooms, have people sit in them here in Grand Bahama, and they get the same live classroom experience. And in fact, Dr. Watson is going to be making use of this very technology next year when he teaches his physics classroom in this two-way space. But we also have employed a virtual classroom, and that is where you have students and teachers interacting over the web in real time. And we've spent a lot of money on the technology to do this, And we are already delivering classes here in Grand Bahama and throughout the Bahamas, in Exuma and also in Eleuthera. So that's the second method. The third method is I've actually got to boast a little bit after I see what these young people have done. I've created a web platform whereby we can deliver courses and instructional materials to students wherever, so they can access it not necessarily in real time, but whenever it's available to them. And this then allows us to live up to our mandate. That is the mandate of UB Online, and that is to provide learning opportunities to anyone, anywhere, anytime. But as Christy said, if you're just focusing on the web, you're already 5 years behind. And so this is the thing that I really want, and I'm really proud of. What we've done is we've now developed UB Online web app. So that, and I'm actually experimenting with it, I'm piloting it with my class now, whereby they download the app from the app store or the Play Store, log in, and they can get all of their learning content delivered to their mobile device. They can also interact with each other and with the instructor through the web application. But they also can take all of their tests and quizzes straight through their mobile app. And hopefully I can get an opportunity to show that for you, because it's something that I'm quite proud of, and yes, I did that too. So I'm going to show my age a little bit. In 1989, a movie came out, Field of Dreams, starring Kevin Costner. I know it was before many of you were born, but I see one or two of you who may have seen the movie before. And in the movie, Kevin Costner was this big baseball fan of the Chicago White Sox. And back in the early teens, 1919 I think it was, one whole World Series was canceled because the Chicago White Sox team got paid off by gangsters to throw the World Series. And they got the name Chicago Black Sox. And it was a big scandal anyway. Many of them regretted this decision for the rest of their lives. And their lifelong dream was just to be given the opportunity to play once more. Because once they were banned forever. And so the movie is about this Midwestern farmer who, big baseball fan, big Chicago White Sox fan, decides to build this stadium in one of his cornfields. And the whole point of the movie is, you keep hearing these voices from heaven or wherever they're coming from, where they say, if you build it, they will come. Oh, yeah, I see some people in my age group. You're all trying to hide in the back there. Okay, good. Yeah, if you build it, they will come. Let me see if I can just. It's up. Huh.
The right arrow too.
The right arrow?
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Okay. Yeah, there's a simulcast learning opportunity. We did all of that. That's actually a picture of the two-way interactive classroom. This is the web platform. These are some of the courses that are being offered, and they're not courses that you might think, music courses, art courses, all sorts of courses. That's the web app, okay? You can clap, yes, well done. I did that too. Yeah, but if you build it, they will come. This has been one of the underlying philosophies behind educational technology. Many of you will know about Harvard and MIT coming together to form Coursera and edX and these other MOOC platforms which create courses that are able to handle hundreds of thousands of students. And so the idea is we're putting all of this learning out there. Of course, everyone's going to come and take advantage of it, particularly since it's free. But what did they find out? Only 7% of those who initially signed up for these MOOC courses, on average, tend to finish it. Larry Cuban, who's a professor at Stanford, wrote a book called Oversold and Underused. And what he's referring to is the fact that we've put all of this educational technology into classrooms, but they never came. Okay? They never showed up. And so the question is, why? I mean, you would think the Bahamas is ready to, not ready to embrace technology. We have embraced technology. Look at Bahamian Twitter. If you don't believe me about the Bahamians embracing technology, just go back to last year's Olympics, when all those people were so salty about Sinead diving across the finish line. Bahamians embraced technology then, and Bahamian Twitter went wild. Nellie Day, ask her about how much, how well Bahamians have embraced technology. But,
2 minutes.
okay. The problem is, though, just because the technology is there, it does not necessarily mean that a bridge across the digital divide is created. Technology is just like golf. Anyone can play it, but not everyone can play it well. And unfortunately, what we have found, and actually this is what I studied in my doctorate, I looked at classroom or school projects where every student would get a laptop. And then we measured to see how they improved in their studies. And what we found was the schools that were in the more well-off areas improved much better than the schools that were in the poorer areas. In other words, rather than reducing the digital divide by providing this technology access, we had actually expanded it. So there's a very key problem that we have to worry about. And there are several reasons behind it.
Closer, maybe. You gotta wrap up now.
Pardon? Yeah. Okay, well, don't worry about that. Oh, the point is, though, is that people who are in privileged positions are frequently more ready, more able to take advantage of this technology access. And the one thing that is able to allow people to better employ technology is quality education. So what does this mean? We have been putting the cart before the horse. We've said, we're going to build, and I've said, I'm going to build a web platform. I'm going to build a mobile app. We're going to build a two-way interactive classroom. And all of this other technology, forgetting that technology really has three components to it. The first, the hardware, that big two-way interactive classroom. The second, the software, that's the coding that powers this stuff. But we're forgetting the third part, what I call the mindware. And unless we upgrade that mindware, unless we provide those quality education opportunities, we can pour as much money as we want to into the technology. We will stay where we are, which in this modern world means that we will actually be moving backwards. So what we want to focus on, yes, we're going to get the technology, but we want to make sure that we prepare our young kids and our college-age kids to take advantage of it. Just to review, we've looked at the mandate of UB Online, and that is to provide learning opportunities for everyone everywhere. And I showed you some of those things that I like to boast about: the web platform, the mobile app, two-way interactive classroom. But I wanted to be sure to remind everyone that in order for us to really grow, in order for this GB Tech Summit to be the success that it should be, and to transform the Bahamas, we can't forget the basics. And that is, education is the first thing, education is the second thing, and education is the third thing. Thank you.
Well, good day, everyone. I guess they've all made my job very easy by now because I only have about 2 minutes anyway to finish up, so I'll just do that. I don't even really need my slide presentation. A lot of you in the audience may know me already. I see a lot of faces that have passed through my doors a time or two. I'm in charge of the professional development area at the University of the Bahamas Northern Campus. And what I actually do is I make sure that whatever is needed and necessary in the community, I try to make sure that I go ahead and plan with a curriculum with my clients, developing something new, designing something new, or giving you something that we already have that you can utilize for your needs. So like I said, I'm in the professional development area. What is professional development? What is it? Well, either you have one course or you have a number of courses that you may want to have as a part of a program that you would come, and I would say, okay, yes, we can do that, and we can put those together for you. We sometimes have workshops. We also have seminars that can be a part of our professional development area. We also have personal development courses. These are the shorter courses that you would come to take part of, and I'm going to go through some of these areas that we have, and some of the areas that what I don't mention, we can design. Okay? We have things like the A+ Computer Technician Certification Program. We have a Microsoft Office Specialist Program, and we also have a Certified Computer Application Technician. I know that in recent years, persons may not have taken part in these programs with us, but right now I'm happy to say that we are in communications with Pearson VUE to make sure that we have the reality of these courses being available for you to take your certifications here on the island of Grand Bahama, as opposed to those persons that have to catch the first Valeria sailing or maybe go into Nassau or the first flight to Synergy or somewhere else. So that these are some of the things that we're looking at right now and trying to make sure that they're a reality for the future. We also have workshops that we have available. Sorry. Did I do that? Some of you remember that show. Okay? But as they get that back up for me, thank you. Like I said, we have some workshops that can be designed, especially for you if that's something that you're looking for. We have web page designs for persons that are looking at web page design. We have ways to improve our Microsoft Office PowerPoint as some of the workshops that we can go ahead and put on as well. And why I say workshops, they're shorter, less than a week, a few days. Just something really fast and simple that you want to get maybe your workers, your employees, to go ahead and learn right away and to make sure that you're functioning in as little as a week, 2 weeks. Okay? Our personal development areas, we have computer applications parts 1 and 2. You may have an employee that's not very skilled with the computers and they need to know Word, Excel, PowerPoint, Access, Publisher, Microsoft Project. That's a new one that I'm currently in design mode for. Our Intro to Word and Excel. We actually had computer applications before. It's been a program that we've offered for many years. But one of the companies that I was designing a program for was like, I don't need them to know all of this other stuff. I just need them to know basic Word, basic Excel. I said, no problem. I can design that for you. And we went ahead and designed a new course especially for that. So like I said, there is opportunities all the way around that whatever you do not see, we're able to go ahead and design for you. We have Microsoft Excel. We have PowerPoint and Word all by themselves as well. And I heard LaRon Burrows, I think the young man's name was, he was talking about him not being able to write a business plan. We even have a class on how to write a business plan, and also introduction to business. So those are things that you can actually come as a part of professional development and go ahead and learn. So we are on the cutting edge. So these big name schools, we have those courses too right here, and you can do them here. Like I said, you just have to ask. We have them. Okay? All right. Like I said, and I alluded to when we first start, you don't see something that's suited for you, for your organization, for you as an individual, we can design. The Intro to Word and Excel, and they love for me to say this was designed specifically for Grand Bahama Shipyard in a program that we piloted with them. I'm currently designing another Microsoft Excel training specifically for a company that's looking for some of the features that we have in our Microsoft Excel class, but they don't want all of it, so we're specializing, customizing that program especially for them. We can design courses for C++, Java, other types of programming that you may have. And we also, I've always thrown this out there anytime I go out, because sometimes we don't use proper netiquette, internet etiquette. And those of you in the audience that have been my past students, you know that I always say this. Sometimes we don't practice good netiquette, and I like to throw that in there. But that's a course that's in design as well. Internet etiquette, just being able to function and move around the internet and use the internet properly and in a good manner. For me, I have a unique opportunity because as I work in administration, but I'm oftentimes called on, because of my background, to teach some of our computer classes at the University of the Bahamas. And one of the things that I've come to realize is that we have a great future, because we have the minds of persons that are our next gaming app persons. We have Steve Jobs in our midst here in Grand Bahama. And like I said, I'm in a unique position because sometimes in the classroom I can spot them. They'll be in the corner crunched up, and all they want to do is work on the computer. And so sometimes with this opportunity has come experiences such as the one I'm proud to say right now. Someone sent a contact from the Ocean Medallion program that's currently here in Grand Bahama to me. And because of that, we had some young men from the university that have passed through my classes to be able to interview. And I'm proud to say that one of them has come back to me and said that even though he's still in school and he's not going to be employed full-time, when they are here on the island, he will be working with them part-time. So I am happy to say that, like I said, we have the potential here in the Bahamas, in Grand Bahama especially, I can say, speak to now, for young persons to grow in our technology field. And I'm so happy to be able to be a part of it. I thank you for listening, and that's the end of my presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for being such an attentive audience. Again, I want to say that the University of the Bahamas is excited to be a part of this tech summit, and we are committed to working and growing strategically, growing according to a plan that will build capacity here. And we are prepared to focus on hiring the right faculty, partnering with industry to create the infrastructure necessary, and to focus on recruiting students who will be able to work in and create industry here on the island of Grand Bahama. I think we have all of the elements that we need around the table, and this is happening all around the world. And we can do this. We can create the competitive advantage necessary. We can create the climate through something like a business incubator to give startups the chance to flourish. And you can hear from our colleagues in the enthusiasm that the university wants to play its role. And we are ready, and we are open for business. We want to thank you all very, very much.
Let's give the College of the University of the Bahamas another hand.
Thank you. Good catch.
We want to thank you, and we want to thank you for the fact that we are becoming more innovative in the area of academia. And we're also delighted to know that you are pushing to see to it that our Grand Bahamian students, with the aid and assistance of the government of the Bahamas through the Ministry of Education, can see to it that our children will be here rather than having to leave Grand Bahama to go to Nassau to further their studies. And so that is important to us here in Grand Bahama at this time. Do I have a witness out there? Of course, some of y'all see that as a way of getting rid of them to go that way anyhow. But we'd like to see and we'd like to continue to encourage you to continue to strengthen the development of intellectual studies here at the Northern Campus. And so let's give facilitators another hand and the Vice President. Let's say it one more time just before we go to lunch. Grand Bahama. We Grand Bahama. We need to get up and get going.
We need to get up and get going.
Let's try it again. Grand Bahama.
Grand Bahama.
We need to get up.
We need to get up.
And get going.
We need to get up.
In other words, we don't want no more talk. Good, good. Y'all do what they do. Get up. Grand Bahama, we need to what?
Get up.
And do what?
Get going.
We need to do what? And do what?
Get going.
Let's get up, everybody. And we're going to get going for lunch. Bow with me. Just where you are. Pause, pause. Pause, 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 pause. Everybody standing. Everybody standing. Now, those of you who are registered, we want to encourage you to catch the shuttle to the Port Lucayan area, and your badges will allow you, with some of the establishments, to get a discounted lunch meal. Okay? And so since we're here, we're going to get up and get going, but just before we do, we're going to bow our heads as we prepare to bless the meal wherever we're going to eat today. Father, we are thankful for the opportunity that we can eat and mindful of those who do not have the opportunity to eat. Bless the meal that we will partake of. May it strengthen our bodies that we may always seek to do your service. In the name of Christ we pray. Let everyone say,
Amen.
Amen. God bless you. Your lunch or meal is already blessed.